I hate creepers, and I know that many of you do too.
What's behind you? Behind you!
Yeah.
Oh, gee, oh no.
Son of a monkey.
Body of water. Oh my god!
And when Jade LF and PB Plays Inside were discussing a recent creeper tragedy, they wondered whether blocking with a sword would help them lessen the damage, and also went on to ask whether blocking while you're not facing the creeper would be as effective as when you are facing it. They called my attention to their conversation and suggested that this might be a good subject for my next Batty Science. I agreed, it was a very interesting subject, and of course I hate creepers. Then I started looking into the subject, and things got curiouser and curiouser. It all started when I set up my first experiments to see how much damage you take without blocking and compare that to when you are blocking. I wanted to make sure that the creeper exploded at a set distance from me every time, so I found a way to hold it in place with a slab at its feet and a roof over its head so it couldn't jump out. But something strange started happening. I was hardly taking any damage. It didn't matter whether I was blocking or not, I was emerging from a nearby explosion virtually intact, even if I was wearing no armour. I realised it was the slab that was saving me from damage, so I decided to run a whole series of tests to see whether placing objects on the ground between the creeper and you would have defensive properties. As we shall see, many of them do. But first, back to the original test. Blocking, does it help? Well, I let creepers explode while I was blocking and while I wasn't. Sometimes I wore armour, but mostly I didn't. I tried blocking while facing the creeper, while I was turned to the side and with my back to the explosion. I came up with a fairly simple way of rating the effectiveness of any defensive measure that I used. If I died, it was 0% effective. If I lost half my hearts, it was 50%, and if I lost none, it was 100% effective. Blocking while wearing no armour was about 20% effective. It made little difference whether I was facing the creeper or turned away. 20% is better than nothing, that's for sure. Remember that a creeper's natural behaviour is to walk towards you and then stop when 3 blocks away from you. That's 2 clear blocks between your block and his, and that's where they explode. So most of these tests were at 3 blocks range. Occasionally I stepped closer when I was facing the creeper. Blocking while wearing armour made this technique just under 50% effective, which certainly sounds like a lifesaver. Next I moved on to those tests to see whether placing blocks on the ground between you and the creeper would help. I started with the slabs, since that was where I'd first seen this working. The thing with slabs is that perfect placement is difficult. If you or the creeper steps up on the block, then it hardly blocks any damage. With perfect placement, however, it appears that slabs are about 90% effective. This applies equally to any kind of slab. The slab is often destroyed, and there's a lot of other ground damage, but you are protected from nearly all of the explosive force. I moved on to other full-size blocks, and found that they were even more effective. Placing any block on the ground between your feet and the creeper's feet is about 95% effective as a defense, even when you are not wearing armour. With armour, it becomes almost 100% effective, and many times I didn't lose any hearts at all. Note once again that if your placement is poor, if you can see any of the creeper's feet beside the block for example, then this is a lot less effective and you may lose a lot of hearts. By the way, full-size blocks such as chests, furnaces or crafting tables are just as good as blocks of dirt or stone. You will lose your chest, but if that's what you have in your hand at the time, it can save your life. I tried placing a number of other objects in the way, with varying degrees of success. A single fence post seems to be useless. I died every time. A length of fencing was reasonable though, about 70% effective at saving me from harm. A flower pot did nothing. Then came a total revelation. A creeper blew up near me on snow-covered ground, and I took almost no damage. I had to investigate this. I tried placing a snow layer on the ground between me and the creeper. This was pretty awful. I took a lot of damage. I tried standing on snow myself. I died. I found that the secret was to have the creeper standing on snow. This was amazingly effective, about 95% in fact. It felt like a bug, and I suppose it may be fixed in some future release, but for the moment, just realise that if a creeper comes to see you in a snowy terrain, you can simply let it explode, and you can often get away with next to no damage. I wondered whether this applied to other layered substances too, so I tried carpet. It proved to be magic carpet, and was just as effective as snow had been. As a crazy magic carpet trick, I managed to lay down a single piece of carpet and then stand exactly 3 blocks away, so that the creeper would walk up and stand neatly on the carpet before exploding harmlessly. It's a great party trick, but I don't know whether I would have the cool nerves to be able to pull it off in a challenge game. By the way, remember that creeper explosions destroy all of these layers that you are relying on for your safety, so they are not a good defense when the creeper family comes to visit. The first explosion takes out the defenses, and the others more than likely kill you. I tried a few other evasion tactics. Standing in water? No. Jumping into the air? Not at all. Hopping up onto 1 or 2 blocks? No and no. In case you're wondering whether creepers have just been nerfed in 1.8, I tried many of these tests in 1.7 and even in 1.6. They all worked the same way. I hope you've found this a little bit interesting and enlightening. Maybe in time we can learn not to fear the creeper. I've been Batheart, and this has been a bit of Batty Science. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.